What is up, guys? Welcome back to episode 4 of this Making Lando Norris World Champion. We are here for the sprint race in Baku. We had an amazing result in the last episode. If you haven't seen that, please go check that out before you see this. And by the title and the thumbnail, the reason you probably click this is, yes, there is an almighty calamity that takes place towards the end of the race. But we'll get into that when it arises. But so far, starting P8 after our race win, so it's looking good so far. We've got quite a bit of pace around this circuit, and it's going to be interesting, to say the least, to see what we can achieve from this position. It's going to be difficult for the first time we can actually fight in this sprint race compared to Bahrain, but we won't talk too much about that anymore. We put that in the past and put that behind us, but we are almost ready to get underway. The only thing that bugs me about this is you don't actually see the grid, at least the top 8 at least, for the sprint race. Obviously we'll start P8, De Vries P5 and Fukuzumi P3, but ready to go, and straight away, same as always, resuming what always happens at the start of an F2 race. You get absolutely swamped into turn 1 by AI. We get done by Latifi as well as Galeo, so we're going to have to get some sweet justice for how bad the starts are. We have a little look down the inside of Sean Galeo, but there's nothing going on there, unfortunately for us. We've got Roberto Meri. He made an appearance last time in the sprint race, trying to get past us, but coming on to the end of lap 1, where we made gains in the feature race, we're making gains once again in this sprint race. You can see before we even get to the DRS detection zone, although it's not active, we don't need it. We can get straight past Sean Galeo with our straight line speed. It's absolutely amazing. Markolov once again is leading the race, so not a surprise there. And the car out in front, I believe it's Fukuzumi, has some damage to his front wing, so he's going to be holding up everybody behind him, which is going to allow Markolov to just extend his lead lap by lap. But Latifi will be the next victim for us. This time we go around the outside of the back straight, so we won't have to worry about overtaking him. It's pit straight, start finish straight, not back straight. Come on, Chris, get it together. Nonetheless, we are up into P8, back into the points paying positions, and we've got to try and get the fastest lap. But there's no way we're going to be able to win this. The gap that Markolov has already, it's very unrealistic to assume that. But Alexander Albon is the next car, the person who came P2, and one of our 2 rivals. This time we go to the inside. He'll give us a bit of a squeeze there, leaves just about enough room, but you know, being very cheeky there. And we actually set the fastest lap on that lap, obviously with DRS open, helping us a lot, which Markolov probably doesn't have to his advantage. That's the only bad thing for him being in the position that he is, all the way out in front. But yeah, Fukuzumi is battling very hard with, I believe it's Delatraz, followed by De Vries, just trying to get as much of a gap he can. It does look like on the minimap that Delatraz is past, but Fukuzumi just ahead. They're battling, they're actually almost 3 wide going into that corner, which is very close. But George Russell is also being held up by this little battle that's going on, of a little battle of 5 cars just ahead of us. Now obviously us being a 6th car, we're trying to get as much of an opportunity here as we can. We've got Albon in our rearview mirrors, so if we make a mistake, he will be on us like fly on crap. Don't want to get demonetized if I'm honest with you. But nonetheless, we are still in pursuit of George Russell, followed by Luca Gito just ahead of him, and then seeing if we can get up the inside of George Russell. It's going to be very tight, almost forcing 2 wide into the castle section here, but George just about gets ahead of us, and we're not going to force the issue here. I had horrible visions of ending up in the barrier there at the castle section, but we'll hang on to the back of George Russell, and we'll be able to make gains down the start finish straight, just to see if we can, like, because you know you can't change the setup of the car, so it's the exact same setup everyone will be running from the feature race, so everyone will be locked into the straight line speed that they have with their aerodynamics. Luckily, like I said before, we have got amazing straight line speed around here. The car setup's actually probably spot on, in my opinion at least, so we're going to be able to get this job done very easily on Russell, I would assume, coming down to start finish straight as we start. We'll get him before we start lap 5. But then we have, oh, that's very bad. That's not good news for us. We've got a bit of front wing damage on the right-hand side. It's yellow, which isn't too bad. It's definitely not great. We'll feel some effects, so we probably won't have optimum pace as we did before. George Russell gives us the room to the inside, and he'll move over to the left and try and defend a little. We actually go purple, ironically, after hitting our front wing. But we've got so deep into the corner, we just didn't account for losing some aerodynamics on the brake, so we lose that position to George, and coming on to the following lap, we're actually going to be able to get past him here. So he's actually going to cover the inside this time. We're going to have to go all the way around the left-hand side. He squeezes up against the pit straight, and it's very close between ourselves and our rival for the championship. He is in PT, you can see. So we're going to move to the left-hand side, and he's just going to come over and just give us a bit of a squeeze there. Probably not as bad as it looked on board, but nonetheless, definitely not ideal. He does try to make a move into turn 1, but nothing going there for George Russell. Luca Giotto is the next person. We are struggling quite a bit now to get through these corners at high speed. We're not doing too bad. We go all the way around the outside of Giotto before we even get onto the actual straight itself. Mid-corner, we actually make the position. We've got DRS, obviously, and we're now hunting down Nick De Vries, who will be... He's very punchy. He's a very punchy F2 driver, and it'll be interesting to see what we can do with him. See if there's a way we can get past the Dutchman. Again, Delatraz still can't get past Fukuzumi. It looks like Giotto fancies another opportunity down on him. So we're going to go side by side through turn 2, and we just about hold on to it. We're going to get DRS, and if he's feeling a bit ballsy, he might try and move into turn 3, but we'll have to see what we can do. We're moving a little bit in a straight line just to break the slipstream just enough to get past. But you can see Fukuzumi doing an amazing job to stay ahead of everyone else. When this happened to our teammate Sergio Sete Camara, he just got passed by everybody. That's very close. He got passed by everybody and just had no chance. But, you know, he's doing an amazing job. We're right behind De Vries at the moment. Going to go all the way to the left-hand side, to the right-hand side. We fake, go in the left, go right, and we get the move done there on De Vries. You can see he covered off the left when he saw us going for it. We set another fastest lap here, and we've got Delatraz now up for picking, looking good for P2 here, with Fukuzumi just ahead, and we're going to try and get in the slipstream of Delatraz down the start-finish straight. We've locked up a little bit on the rears, and we've just gone straight into the back of Delatraz, and we've now got an orange front wing as well as a yellow front wing, which means we are going to be struggling really, really bad here on the penultimate lap. This race has absolutely flown by. So many battles going on, trying to catch up to the cars just ahead. So Delatraz didn't do anything wrong there. I just completely locked up the rears, just probably focusing a bit more on De Vries and not actually where I was braking. So I make a bit of an error, which isn't obviously good for us, and this could mean De Vries is going to get an opportunity. And Sean Galeo, out of all people, has set the fastest lap. I don't believe what I'm seeing here. And we hit the wall again, so now we've got dark orange, almost verging on red. So we're going to really struggle on this last lap. If we can get through here, it's almost into the wall there as well. So we are in a hell world of trouble. We've got 55% and 51% on the rear wheels, and we've got to be very careful through this section, while also trying to push to see if there is a chance we can catch Delatraz for the podium, and also defend for Nick De Vries. But De Vries is going to be very punchy through this last half of the lap, and lap. You can go very well. We bang the wall a little bit. De Vries is all the way behind us. He's going to go to the right hand side. There's a yellow flag, and De Vries is on the left hand side, and he's punted us into the wall, and it looks like there's going to be a traffic jam. And then we just got hit again by, I believe that was Giotto, and there's Froco as well stuck there. That's George Russell there. Looks like he's missing a tyre, and let's have a look and see what happens. So De Vries to the right hand side, moved to the left, hit George Russell, and by that point he couldn't stop, and he was a passenger. And as were we had nowhere to go, and then obviously you got cars left, right and centre just going into us. So let's have a look and see what actually happened. So we hit the wall there, and you can see De Vries going to the right hand side, can't make the move, so he goes to the left and just annihilates George completely. George loses his tyre, like I said, and yeah, it's just cars after cars. So you can see he goes to the right hand side, he can't get the move, so he goes to the left, and I don't think he expected George to be there, but you know, George had nowhere to go. As we'll see from George's perspective here, all the way to the right side, he comes across. George gets airborne for a second. The wheel tellers doing an absolutely amazing job there for themselves. But yeah, George absolutely destroyed, and nowhere to go. Luckily for Albon here, didn't actually get too much damage. I believe he stopped just in time, and yeah, he managed to park it on the apex. This is the car that followed into our side pod, just nowhere to go. I don't think he assumed that had happened, but we actually managed to make it out of there just about. We've got no front wing, but we did actually get a penalty for reversing on track, and that's kind of disappointing. So we've got a bit of a time penalty. We've got a bit of a gap there to Roberto Merri, of all people. The two Dams cars are still in it, and I believe our teammate is in P8 at the moment, but we'll have to see the final results. We are struggling to get around the circuit here with no front wing, but we will probably lose a few positions just due to the penalty, which I think is a little bit unfair, to say the least, but there's not really much we can do. You know, we have to take it very gingerly through these corners. You can see we're not even on full power. We bang off the wall, managed to not destroy our suspension, but after all that, Fukuzumi is only going to come P3. That kind of all escalated from when we damaged our front wing with Delatraz, damaged it again, and then once more, and then obviously the battle with Nick De Vries. an absolute insane sequence of events to happen here at the end of the race. But absolutely mental, and I generally couldn't believe after I was in the wall. But Harry Jackson and Russian time pit wall there to celebrate Valter Markelov, who finally gets a race win after starting our back-to-back sprint race pole positions. But yeah, Fukuzumi, the Red Bull Junior, getting the podium, which is obviously handy. And I believe, yeah, Louis Delatraz as well, getting a P2, which is obviously top job for him. Jack Aitken, another man who is struggling so far, not getting many points here in a P10. So his season's really not going to plan, is it? But, you know, top job for Markelov. He just absolutely disappeared. Probably wouldn't have disappeared as much if Fukuzumi didn't have that damage. But at the same time, you can't deny Markelov's ability in an F2 car. He is a cracking driver. And shame he hasn't won the championship. Will he win it this year? I doubt it very much. But, you know, anything can happen. If he wins all the sprint races, he might be in with a shout. But at the same time, he won't be getting many points in the feature race. So that is your podium for the sprint race in Baku. You can see the results here. Our 5-second penalty for us drops us down to P7, just behind Latifi, ahead of Tadasuke Makino, who is obviously Markelov's teammate. Sean Galea with the fastest lap, so he doesn't get any points. He does actually get points for that, to be fair. That's not really accurate because I'm pretty sure he's not in the top 10, so he shouldn't really get those points. But nonetheless, we'll ignore that and we'll look at the standings. You can see we are still leading by 1 point, which is always handy. George obviously got screwed in that race, so sad for him. We're quite a bit ahead. 16 points in the Constructors is what we are leading ART currently. But that's been it for me, guys. If you enjoyed this video and enjoyed the crash, please slap a like on it. If you're new around there, please subscribe for Formula 1 content every other day. Until then, guys, take care. Bye-bye.